So you don't think that Orlando Anderson was, maybe he was a shooter, but he wasn't behind it? What is your theory?
I believe Orlando Anderson was some kind of pawn. Can I curse?
Yeah, you could curse.
Because my emotions is getting...
All you
know
want
what I'm
to,
saying?
yeah.
Okay. Negroes do a whole bunch of stupid shit for money. And ain't no telling. Ain't no telling. I think it's bigger than just some gangbangers.
It was clean.
Very clean. Nice and tidy. And I keep saying to people, know your enemy. Know your enemy. That's where what Pac and I learned as kids growing up about FBI, COINTELPRO, covert operations that, that are invisible to you or can be real. You know what I mean? So it's a crying shame, but now it's in their hands.
The world feels this deep. So after you, well, first of all, what did you think? Did you think, where was his people? What was up? What's the deal?
I thought all those thoughts went through my mind of, what the hell happened? Excuse my French. What the hell happened? What's going on? I thought this is big bad death row. How the hell y'all let them? How come ain't nobody chase them? All them questions went through my mind, But it was different for me because since I had been with him from day one, I knew all the enemies. I was thinking, was this enemy that came up? These niggas in the Bay came up in him? Niggas from New York? Or, what I mean? We had done it all. Was it cats in Chicago? Or it could have came from anywhere. So I had to evaluate all the information, which took a long time. And, I do believe it was conspiracy. That's why there's all this confusion.
Amen.
It was meant to be confusing. You dig? So it wasn't no accident. Even if I would have different feelings, even if it was, some straight up gang bang gangster shit. And I don't think it was that. I don't know.
So
judge for yourself. Buy the DVD.
Do you think Tupac would want the world to know who shot him or who killed him or who was responsible for his murder?
Definitely.
Can you say
it? I do think Pac would want to know who took him out. I think Pac would want his fans to know if it was a real or one of them cowards. Evidently he was a coward because they had to do a whole conspiracy and all that to take him out. Pac wasn't scared to die. He was a soldier. He was just knowing when. And like I said, he was big about truth. So if it's on us now. So if we find out who killed him, I think he would want everybody to know. And deal with it. Deal with Pac fans. Pac fans is no joke. Pac fans is no joke. Please believe it. My first reaction when I first heard about Pac getting shot, I thought it was a mistake. I thought Pac shot somebody. I thought Pac was doing the shooting. That was the last thing on my mind, that he would get hit in Vegas.
So when you first heard, you thought Pac was doing the shooting. When it dawned on you that my brother, did you find out when he was in the hospital or when he had already passed? As soon as he passed?
I found out a few hours after it happened. I mean, the sun was up, but I found out that very next morning. And I had just gotten married. I just had my daughter, Cheyenne, and we beeline to Vegas. So I got to see him, when as soon as we got there, I went to see him, and I say this in all the interviews, Pac was trying to tell me something. He was still You know, he was still two. He had tubes all in him, but you know how you communicate with your eyes? He was trying to tell me something. And I never got to find out. As soon as I got to L.A., they say he passed. Well, so I wasn't there.
Who called you?
It's interesting. I found out through the radio. Through the radio. The fans was all, you know, at that time, the whole community was want to know what was up with Pac. So as soon as it went down, it hit the airways. So I found out from the radio before any other way.
When you first walked in Vegas and you saw him, did you think he was going to make it somewhere in your heart?
Yes. Because I knew Pac was special. Pac was touched. Pac was blessed. Pac then came out of a whole lot of stuff, you know, and I had faith and believed in him that he would pull out. And I knew how strong he was as well. But when I first saw him, I just broke down. My sister said to me, like, "Stop crying, don't let him see you crying, don't let him see you crying." I was, you know, but, and then he was trying to communicate with me, you know, with his eyes, he was just shaking the bed. I'm like, chill out, you're going to break something else, you're going to hurt something else. He was just shaking the bed, you know, trying to communicate something, but never found out. And I was irritated that when I got to the hospital, there was no security. There was no security around the hospital, and they had Pac on the first floor. You know, I was in the military. I know tactics, maneuvers, and all that. I'm like, he's on the first floor. You know, I didn't see no security. Me and Brother Watani Tahimba, who was his old manager, you know, we set up a perimeter around the hospital, you know. But spirit lives. Machiavelli lives.
After the Seldom fight, Suge wanted to go ahead and leave, and Pac was ready to go, obviously, you know, as well. So we walk out of the back area. Mike Tyson never came in the back, so we never met up with Mike. We ended up leaving. As we left out of the fight arena area, as we got out into the casino area again, the rest of our entourage was out there waiting on us. As we walked up to greet them, which would have been, you know, all of Death Row entourage, along with Tupac's entourage, which would have been the Outlaws and whomever else. One of Suge's guys, his name is Trevon, came over and whispered in Tupac's right ear, because I was standing on Tupac's left. Tupac took off and ran in toward the left in that direction of the food court. As I took off behind him and the rest of the entourage is behind me, Tupac comes to, at this time I didn't know who it was, now being Orlando Anderson, standing by this planter, just like waiting. And Pac just ran up on him, and then Orlando Anderson swung back. At this time, Pac's medallion broke. When he reached down and grabbed the medallion, I grabbed him and got him out of the fight. By the time the entourage who was behind me had gotten there, the footage that is from the MGM everyone sees, Orlando Anderson's on the ground and everybody's kicking at him, beating him down or whatever. That's what took
While I was working at 662, I heard something over the Nextels that we all carry for security, and what I heard was, got 'em.
No, that's news to me. The only phones I know of, I think, are all through AT&T.
These radios that we keep talking about, the Nextel telephones, two-way radios, they had pretty much just come into play, because originally all we had were the regular radios, just the radio itself, and probably closer to around the time of us coming out to Las Vegas, around the time frame of Pac being killed, I would say that those Nextel phone radios had just come into play for right-way security. There was only, it's a guess, there was probably only 4 or 5 of them. Okay, but it was enough to go around to the people that mattered that should have had them.
The Nextel information is news.
The Voice was definitely one of our, not paid security, but one of security that works with directly for Mr. Knight, came over the radio. Now, I couldn't pinpoint exactly whose voice it was, but it was some voice that I had heard before. So I knew it was one of our, not one of our direct security that was hired with us, but one of the, what do we call them? One of the homeboy securities, you said, got him right before me and Mr. Wright got in the vehicle to go get to the hospital.
Michael Moore, the night that Tupac was shot, after being taken off of Tupac with me, went back over to Club 662.
Then someone else came on the radio and said, hey, don't say nothing over the radio.
So Michael was with Reggie, and they went to the hospital together. And Michael talks about hearing something over the radio. Well, he would have heard it over Reggie's radio, because he wouldn't have had a radio that night.
They're going to know the shooter to select. They're going to know the optimum target area to get that person to travel to get that hit. An innocent individual that comes in to protect someone, and he's totally set up.
We went to Suge Knight's home first. Suge changed clothes. After that, we were driving back from where he lived at in Green Valley, Las Vegas. We're going down Las Vegas Boulevard.
Another crucial part of your planning is going to be whether or not your victim is aware that he's in danger. If your victim is aware that he's in danger, he's going to make sure that his defense perimeter is there, that his defense is in place. If he's not aware that he's in danger, his guard's going to be let down a little bit.
Just before we got to Tropicana, a couple of bicycle cops stopped Suge. He opened up his trunk, and there was nothing in there. It was a brand new car. He got back in the car. We proceeded to go down to Flamingo. We turned right on Flamingo. As we turned right and we're sitting at the light on Flamingo and Koval, the white Cadillac then pulled up and the arm came out and fired the rounds from the back of the BMW into the side of the BMW, hitting Tupac.
Well, first of all, looking at the diagram, we have a stoplight and we have an entourage, which is not good for security. I would say that if this car were not in the lead car, that would still give the middle car an avenue of escape. Then you have the car with the person in it, and then you have their backup. What also I see is this car in the left-hand turn lane, or to the left of the entourage. This appears to be blocking the middle car from pulling over in case of emergency or case of accident. But I'll tell you what, this happens all the time in the Middle East, and this is typical of your assassinations in Colombia, your assassinations in some other countries, to where the car targeted is blocked in from going left because the other car that pulls up to the right completes the quadrant, completes the silhouette of blocking the middle car in. There's no place for the middle car to go. The middle car is blocked in by the lead car, is blocked in by the car to the left, and is finally blocked in by the right car, which appears to be the shooter in this incident.
When I saw a white Cadillac pulling up to Tupac and Suge, it was no different than any other car that was going to come up to a red light and, stop. Only thing different about the Cadillac pulling up is that I noticed that it was getting a little bit closer to the car. No alarm, because there was, other cars pulling up to him and, Tupac.
It's obvious that its intent is to block the middle car from going forward, this car left, and then finally the shooter to the right. It was